Your Excellencies, Presidents of Media, today we are talking about the 1 year of the Ukrainian attack. We are going to have the exhibition Year of Indomitability showing the Ukrainian lives in the last year. Part of these collections are part of the Beta reporter, Amir Hamzagić, and part is borrowed by the Embassy of Ukrainian. Here on Deutsche Platz you will be able to look at this, and now I am inviting Mr. Volodymyr Tokac to speak.
Dear ministers, ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, 31,576,000 seconds. That's how much time has passed for Ukrainians since the beginning of the last large-scale Russian attack on our motherland. That's how much time has passed since February 24, 2022. With this, a new countdown began for us. We are waiting every second, every moment for the arrival of the death from those who were considered close people and relatives with whom we once lived in the same state. We had no idea that they would destroy us for our language, identity, history, and culture. Simply, they want to kill us because we are Ukrainians. Yes, it didn't happen immediately. The Russian rockets touched Kiev, Kharkiv, and Bucha exactly 1 year ago, but Moscow began its aggression against Ukraine 9 years ago with the occupation of Crimea, with the appearance of armed gangs of Russian oprichniks, terrorists in the Donbass, who then did not shout "Hoida," as Russian would like to do it now, but entered quietly and killed us quietly. Even then, they cut the stomachs and drowned people in the rivers for the Ukrainian flag, for the Ukrainian languages. However, today we can proudly say we survived. Russia aggression considered the Ukrainian Union. National unity became the basis of successful resistance. We are united around the president, who proved to the world his and our resistance and courage. Today, Ukraine deters Russian arms, aggression, thanks to effort to the military, diplomatic, and informal fronts. We are fighting back the aggressor thanks strong international assistance, thanks to your support. Ukrainians demonstrated to the whole world that they know how to defend their own motherland. The strength of Ukrainian spirit and indomitable will, readiness to fight till the victory. The free world demonstrated its own unity, considering resistance and common disaster that it is destroying the existing system of international security. Today, in this 21st century, Russia seeks to dismantle the international order based on rules, destroys the unity of democratic countries, and return to the world of the era of empires, spheres of influence, as well as it was in past. It is symbolic that today, together with our partners from EU countries and EU, we organized this photo exhibition demonstrating the tragic year in the life of Ukraine and Ukrainians. It is quite symbolic that the photos of Ukrainian international and Serbian photographers are presented here in this photo exhibition. There are evidence of heroism, sufferings, hopes, and victories of our people. A testimony of the support of our friends, a testimony of unity. Slava Ukraini!
Thank you, Ambassador.
And now I will call on the ambassador of the EU to Serbia to speak to us.
Dear Prime Minister, dear ministers, dear Volodymyr, dear Ambassador Tolchak, today is a sober day. It's 1 year since Russia started its illegal and full-scale invasion of Ukraine. For a year, every day, Russia has killed innocent Ukrainian women, men and children, raining down its missiles on cities and civilian infrastructure, as we can see from the pictures that are part of this exhibition. Every day, Russia keeps spreading lies and fabrications. Every day, Russia keeps violating the UN Charter, seeking to annex part of Ukraine through its imperial war. We are here today to show our compassion for the victims, solidarity and support for Ukraine and Ukrainians. We are here today to pay tribute to all those who lost their lives and all those that are mourning friends, relatives and neighbors who perished in this terrible war. We are here today to express our admiration for the courage and resilient spirit of Ukrainian and its people. Indomitability. It is exactly what this photo exhibition is showcasing. Courage, determination to defend freedom and democracy with great dignity. Ukrainians living in war conditions in their hometowns destroyed by the war and on the front lines. And I'm very happy that we're here today with many representatives of the international community, with the Prime Minister, with many ministers of the Serbian government, colleagues from around the world, to share this moment of solidarity and compassion towards the Ukrainian people. The world needs peace in Ukraine, and the people of Ukraine deserve peace, but not just any peace. I want to stress that this is not a European issue, nor it is about the West versus Russia. No, this illegal war concerns everyone, the North, the South, the East and the West. And yesterday, in New York, at the United Nations General Assembly, 141 countries from across the world, from the EU, from Serbia, from many countries are here, again decided to condemn the Russian aggression. And this is because no one is safe in a world where the illegal use of force would be normalized. The European Union has always been a peace project, bringing peace to the European continent and promote it around the world. This is a central tenet of our origin. It's in our DNA. And when it comes to Ukraine, the real question today are what kind of peace and how to achieve it. The first obvious step to peace is for Russia to stop its attacks. It must end all hostilities and withdraw all its forces and military equipment from Ukraine. It must do so immediately, completely, and unconditionally. Until then, the European Union will continue to give Ukraine the support it needs to defend its population. For the first time ever, the EU has supplied weapons to a country under attack. Indeed, the EU is now a leading provider of military training for Ukrainian personnel so they can defend their own country. We're also offering significant macro-financial and humanitarian aid to support Ukrainian people. And we decided to respond positively to Ukrainian request to join the European Union, and negotiations are now ongoing. Finally, we are working to ensure accountability for the war crimes that Russia has committed. Besides helping Ukraine, we need to continue putting pressure on Russia to stop its illegal aggression and helping the rest of the world to cope with the war fallout. This is what we have been doing for 1 year now, and successfully. We've adopted unprecedented sanctions, cut our dependency on Russian fossil fuels, and in close collaboration with key partners, reduced by 50% the energy revenues the Kremlin gets to finance its war. And in this difficult crisis, the EU has managed to cope. Our economy continues to grow and will continue next year. Unemployment remains low and inflation is slowing down. Working together, we have also mitigated the global ripple effects with food and energy crisis declining. And of course, we need to extend the support to our closest neighbors that are suffering with us the consequences of this war. I'm happy that in Serbia we were able to provide 165 million euros in energy budget support to come in support together with the government to vulnerable families and SMEs to cope with higher energy prices. At the same time, we'll continue to support Ukraine's wish for just peace. The European Union stands united and determined to support Ukraine as long as it takes. Ladies and gentlemen, we are here in Serbia to make a tragic date. In this time of crisis, when unity is our strength, we also count very much on Serbia to fully engage and seize the opportunity to reinvigorate the enlargement process and step up reforms and policy alignment, because our future is together. A common vision of the future involves mutual responsibility and shared values. In this regard, I want to welcome Serbia's voting yesterday with the European Union on the resolutions on principles underlining a comprehensive, just and lasting peace in Ukraine. I very much welcome this step. We count on Serbia's full engagement to contribute in bringing back peace and stability to Europe, and I thank everyone who's here today for showing their solidarity to the Ukrainian people. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Ambassador. A sada pozivam otpravnika poslova ambasade
Now we are calling John Ginkel, Deputy Chief of Mission of the U.S. Embassy in Belgrade, please.
Thank you for joining us here today, Ambassador Joffre. Thank you for including the United States as part of this display of transatlantic unity. And Volodymyr, most of all, to you, to our Ukrainian friends in this room. It really is an honor and a tragedy to be here 1 year after the brutal invasion of Ukraine. The photographs on the walls, which I hope everyone has an opportunity to review, tell a story far more compelling than any words that I can offer here at this podium. But beyond the horror and the tragedy that has displaced millions of people in the country of Ukraine, both internally and externally, a tragedy that has sent thousands of Ukrainians to Serbia, where they have found comfort and have been welcomed and supported. What this tragedy has shown us is that there is a unity of spirit throughout Europe, across the Atlantic, and frankly, around the world. As Ambassador Joffre noted, yesterday was a show at the United Nations that demonstrated how united the global community is and how ready the global community is to ensure. During his speech in Warsaw, the United States is in it for the long run. The United States is committed to Ukraine's territorial integrity, to Ukraine's victory in this brutal war, and the United States is committed to the unity that we have demonstrated in the global community of nations, with the European Union, with the transatlantic community, to see this through until the end. So thank you for allowing me to join you today, and I do encourage everyone to please take in the photos on the walls, which just demonstrate the gravity of this tragedy. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ginkel. I pre nego što zvanično
Before we officially open up this exhibition, I would like to say that at 3 o'clock we will have a panel discussion with Ukrainian literary persons who are in Belgrade at the moment, and we will shed some light on the Ukrainian people in the last war year. So it's officially open, and now I'm asking Amir Hamzagić, the Serbian photographer from the Beta Agency, who was there in 2022, to tell us something about the exhibition. So you can gather around. First, I would like to ask the Prime Minister and Your Excellencies just to come here and to listen about the exhibition. So, please.
1, 1. 1, 1. 1, 2. 1, 1, 1.
kome trebaju slušalice, ko ne razume, ok. Znači, govorit ćemo na ukrajinskom i na srpskom, pa kome trebaju... We will be speaking in English, in Serbian and Ukrainian, so if you need translation into any language that you do not understand, please take your... Yeah, good. Shall you stay with us, please? Palimo i gasimo mikrofoni ili su oni samo upaljeni?
Dear friends, Your Excellencies, dear friends that are watching and listening via internet, my name is Milena Beric. On my behalf and on behalf of my colleague Vladimir Rasenijevic from Krokodil Association, I would like to thank you for being here with us. Because of all the victims of the aggression in the last year, I would like to ask everyone to start with a minute of silence. Starting from the Russia's aggression on Ukraine, 1 year has passed and it has resulted in huge human suffering, material and human suffering, a wave of refugees, but also global crisis, economic, political and social. It resulted in anxiety and instability at all levels that humanity firmly believed would never happen again with the establishment of the United Nations in 1945. In the last year, we in Serbia had to face the manifestations of a negative legacy that has been present in the society for decades, especially those that arise from the chronic unwillingness of our society to face the past and the unwillingness to solve the most important political and social issues. All this, at the very beginning of Putin's war campaign in Ukraine, caused a dramatic increase in support for the Russian occupation, as well as the worrying display of fanatical Putinophilia in Serbia and a new wave of return to far-right territorial and identity fetishes and delusions, which in our region, as a rule, led the state into new conflicts and bloody wars. In the Krokodil Association, all our members, friends and sympathizers were determined from the very beginning to follow the other and different paths, determined to the extent that was possible, help the Ukrainian citizens caught in the dramatic and often very tragic reality of war and destruction, determined to sympathize, to show solidarity and provide help, strongly believing that this is the only right way. From the collecting of aid for the city perinatal center in Kharkiv, to which we personally delivered neonatal ventilators and significant amounts of other urgent necessities at the beginning of June last year, to dedicating our writers' residence to Ukrainian literary creators in exile, to painting a wall near the Krokodil Center with a portrait, and it was vandalized. It was the poet Lysiuk, the Ukrainian, was on the mural. So basically a whole series of programs were dedicated to children and youth refugees from Ukraine, literature, culture, but also social and political issues of this country, and opening the doors of our center to various formal and informal organizations. So right next week we will start our journey to the east of Ukraine, carrying a small but important humanitarian aid intended for the social center in Lysiuk, and thus carrying a message of love and solidarity from as many as 345 of our citizens who help with their donations. On the way back, we will deliver from Kiev 400 titles for the first library in the Ukrainian language in our country, which was made possible by a small network of Serbian publishers. We want to believe that things are changing in Serbia from day to day. We want to believe that we are also contributing to this change. We want to believe in a more responsible, empathetic and better society. Today, when the first year of aggression ends and the first year of marathon endurance and courage of all Ukrainian citizens, it is clear that the end is not yet in sight, and that now more than ever it is necessary for all the people of goodwill, all those who sympathize with the citizens of the country unjustly attacked by more powerful neighbor, continue with the support activities so that the lives of our Ukrainian friends in these difficult times will be at least partly eased. Thank you. Thank you, Milena. Well, thank you for everything on my behalf as well. We were quite interested to open up our residence for the writers, and so that it becomes Writers in Exile program, so that we could help literary persons to be here. And we are privileged in that sense, so that at the moment we are host to 2 Ukrainian literary persons, Ina Volosevich, Ukrainian writer, and poet Anna Lysiuk. We will be talking about the previous 365 days of the war and their personal insight into what has been happening with them in their lives in Ukraine, but also about the atmosphere that they have seen here when they came to spend some time on their residential stay. So I would like to ask Ina and Anna to join us, and I would like to ask you to greet them with an applause. Now I will put the headphones. I hope that I will hear the interpretation into Serbian. Ina and Anna, good day.
Danas je bila šetnja.
Today there was a short walk, just briefly. I know that Anna was walking in the city. How was it?
It was really important for me to see people beside me, people that were walking with me side by side, and to see those eyes that were sparkling with the belief that our freedom and our freedom is below us. I remember that a year ago this meetings was really small, and now it's bigger, and it's important for me that I see that it's more and more people day by day that support Ukraine, because I believe and I know that this war is going to period every war in other countries, and I really believe that our children is going to live on a peaceful country.
U momentu kada je ubijen predsjednik Kennedy, kod nas je seminalan datum za ljude koji su živjeli 70-ih, 80-ih godina bilo posljednjam da većina.
So there are these important days that we need to have. I suppose that 365 days later, most of the Ukrainians can remember what happened during the 24th of February 2022. So now I would like to ask both of you if you can tell me briefly about some short reminiscence how the war got you and what happened.
Тому що 23 лютого ми мали зібрання директорів.
I'm going to start when the 23 of February, because I was in a work meeting and we were discussing the main pages or what we're going to do. Because theoretically I was actually okay with this. I mean, I was trying to be ready, but you can actually prepare for this. In 5 a.m. On this day, we wake up because of the explosions. I live in Zalizne, it's below Kiev. We wake up and just tell each other how much do we love each other, and we just started packing in our stuff. We were panicking, afraid, but I think it's important that we were together and we were supporting each other in this moment. Yeah, I also want to remember 23rd of February. I haven't believed that actually war is going to start. It was looking like an absurd. And 23rd of February, on my work, we were talking with the Crimean Tatars, and they were telling us how many times they were losing their homes. And at this moment, Lviv was their second home, and I was actually believing that we're going to be able to have those kind of meeting in Bakhchisarai and in other cities, but I woke up because of the explosions. I heard air raid sirens. My daughter woke up to go to the school, and when she was she go back to the sleep, and then when she sleep another 2 hours, I told her that war started. I was really afraid, and you actually don't really know what to do when the war comes to your house. I was hearing the news from every city, from my friends, but I've decided that it's really important for me to try to stay calm and not panicking. Try to save my light, and I was trying to just keep supporting people around me.
Još jedno kratko potpitanje pre nego što dam reč Mileni. Da li ste u to...
Чи могли ви подумати, що війна почнеться? Чи могли ви подумати, що війна закінчиться? То я морам там дойти.
Наша перекладачка. Стоять які з нами поруч, які підтримують, які помирали за Україну. Але я для себе вирішила в той момент.
За мене було много bitno da obučem ovu narodonošnju i da podržim i svoje pretke, ali za mene je mnogo bitno da podržim našu Ukrajinu.
Yeah, I also wanted to say, because I'm waiting for the translation right now, that it's actually really important for me that I was wearing this our national traditional shirt, and I was feeling that ancestors was below me.
Tehničke probleme sa prevodom. Milena?
Ja ne. Vi ćete da kažete ako postoji neki problem. Ne slušam slušalice. Ovo je pitanje za obe, ali bih voljela prvo evo Ina.
First, I would like Ina to answer my question. A year ago, when we, right away, at the beginning of the aggression, we organized the event in Krokodil, but we contacted the authors that we know in Ukraine as well, and we asked the questions. We wanted to know about the situation in the field and what we can do. And somehow, in this terminology of saying everything, peace as a word, as a term, was in question. So very quickly it happened that we are not allowed to say peace, but only victory. And there was only consensus that we are going to delete the word peace from our vocabulary, and we are going to use another word, and that is victory. And then we saw how quickly the solidarity among the Ukrainian citizens is happening, and that was extremely touching to us. And regarding that, I wanted to ask you to tell me something about that, how you feel and what is your view of all that, because now I'm talking from our perspective of people who are trying to have compassion to understand people from such a faraway country.
Чи ми думали, що почнеться війна? Насправді я цього чекала.
Yeah, I was actually expecting the war from the 2014 because Russian was occupied. They occupied Crimea, and it was actually I saw that evil that were not getting anything. It's going to come again. And unfortunately, to fight with the Russians, we Ukrainians were hearing that that we want peace, but we want peace, but we actually want peace not only as a peace on the Russians' perspective, but only it's going to. If Russian peace is in question, it's going to look like what happened in Bucha. It's going to spread all over Ukraine. Or peace on the Ukrainian side, and it's actually going to look like peaceful and happy country like it was just before. And I really hope that humanities will stop actually having wars, because we want to save those planet.
Згуртувалися як ніколи, тому що кожен був підтримкою одне для
We were actually supporting each other. Those days I was looking at my friends, looking at my parents, and everyone was so supportive. Everyone was so hard trying to go against Russians or to help. For example, the publisher where I'm working at the first days, we gave all of the money on our country. At some moment, at my apartment, were living 8 people and 3 cats. It was people that I haven't met before in my life, and they just could have escaped. They literally escaped from the Mariupol, and I gave them shelter. That was people from the Donetsk originally, so they heard the news, and they actually really good understand that they had to escape. And it's really important for me that this year we are tired, but we actually keep running in this marathon, and we keep working below our powers. I was actually really surprised when I came in here, and in the first time I fall asleep peacefully, which was surprisingly for me, because I thought that I'm really calm and I'm working on my peace. But for the last year, it's been a lot of tiredness. When you work every day with children, with the occupations from the occupation territories. We have 1 million of refugees, and a lot of people escaped. A lot of people escaped to the Polish, and we were out looking for our peace.
That actually brings us to the next question. Last year in June, we were taking the humanitarian aid for the city perinatal center in Kharkov in June, and we entered Ukraine, where at the crossroads with the near Uzhgorod, and then from Uzhgorod we traveled throughout the country towards the east of the country. So we went through Bucha, through Borodyanka. We saw those terrible destruction in the entire country, and all the time there were those protections from the tanks and a lot of checkpoints with the military, and the whole atmosphere was quite disturbing. But another thing, something that was quite disturbing, is some sort of peace that happened among the people of Ukraine, some deep understanding and cooperation. So at that point I was thinking about our experience from the 90s, that was really the experience of the wars and hatred among brothers, and it seems to me, regardless of the fact, I mean, everything that happened in Ukraine was awful, but there is a positive consequence, and that is that the people learn how to respect themselves, and there is a lot of love among the Ukrainian citizens. I don't have an exact question, but I would like to ask you, do you share that opinion? Am I right in saying that? Because somehow here we don't like these terms like patriotism, and they became negative connotations for us. And in Ukraine, I saw that there is a way to love your country, and there is no toxicity anywhere there.
Рік я навчилася по-справжньому любити, і це
I think that it's the first in this year that I really now know what love is. I've learned to share this love. And I really now know what means love to the country, love to parents, and love to people you even don't know, because we became something else. For example, from Lutsk and to Mariupol, it's 46 hours by train, and I was there only once. We actually didn't spoke between regions, but this full-scale invasion is helped us to understand, to feel those people all around the country, to see how Ukraine is united. And it's not really important when you were born. It's important that you are Ukrainian with Ukrainian heart, and you speak with people from your open heart. And it's not even important from the politics. It's important that we will understand each other because we're Ukrainians and because we have this open hearts. And this is why we would be closer to to peace. I actually felt support from my colleagues, from my from my colleagues, from my friends, and we were actually hiding for the first 10 days because we were waiting for the occupations, but at the same time we were living like one family. And really people became, I'm feeling this right now, that people became more kind to each other. I really feel that love that we spread between the people, because people actually thought that their country and their family is important, and it doesn't matter that we're different. We feel that each of us is doing something for the victory, and we feel themselves like one. So this feeling of unity is something that we lack in Ukrainians, but right now it's something that you see. Actually, from the first days, we started to have sociological questions to people, and we were amused, like right now the whole Ukraine is thinking only in one direction. From the first day, more of the 19% of the country were believing in victory, because we feel that we are from the side of good, and we believe that good will defeat evil. We can't give up.
When the aggression started, the whole of Europe started to help and to show solidarity. The countries have reacted right away, and the fact is that our state did not react in the same way. In the association Krokodil, we started this residential program for the writers, and we were courageous enough to do something which is not in line with the official policies, and we sent the invitation for you to come here. So I have to ask you, why did you choose to come to Belgrade? This is something that I'm sure that 90% of the people who are listening to this would like to ask you.
Well, when talking about me, I actually usually follow my heart. I can't actually explain that, but that's how I do. For example, in this autumn, I was planning to go to the army. They haven't want me there, so I thought, okay, I'm going to be a writer. Then I saw a post of Ukrainian writer Andrei Lyupka, and he was writing about residents in Serbia, and without thinking, I was just filling in all of the documents, and then I came. I was living not an easy life, but I was actually trying to meet some writers more, and I'm actually really grateful. I like the culture. I was following the Balkan music and culture. I was actually wanting it to see the Balkans. I was made in one day DNA test, and 47% is Balkan in blood, and I feel really warm and comforting here. And it's not so bad that Serbia was not supporting from the first days us. Me and my husband were living in Ukraine until November, and then we came to Latvia on the literature residence, and actually work is the only one that the only thing that was actually saving me. Something that can allow me to live my normal life, but after that my friends were calling me and telling me that we're out of electricity, out of whole city. So after that I fell into the program Artists on Risk, and it was unexpectedly, but I had a letter from Serbia. And after just that, I've heard from the MDS of Ukraine that it's not actually safe to come to Serbia, and that the army was preparing to the war. But I thought that probably Serbia actually need more Ukrainian than Latvia, where it's even more Ukrainians, and this country is more on the side of Ukrainians. So I, as the victim of Russian invasions, I really have this passion to say to you what is happening. I'm really grateful to the Krokodil, Association of Krokodil, that they gave to us this opportunity. And that's why we decided to accept this, and we're really grateful to Serbia and Krokodil for the invitation.
Thank you, Ina. I'm going to conclude something. Anna, you didn't know much before that. You were surprised by some of the things, and Ina knew something. She assumed something else, but our impression with all of you who are in this residence from the very beginning, I'm talking about Hanna and Mark Lieving and other authors, and there is one thing which is specific for all of you, and that is the feeling that you have the responsibility to do something here in terms of changing the social awareness. So you were cleaning the park in Slavia. Hanna was translating. The previous resident was helping us with Bliźniuki, and she was in contact with the director of the social center over there. And they all showed in a way that it's their everyday responsibility to work together with us to change the social awareness in Serbia. So thank you. It's very touching. Well, I think time flies, so we don't have much more time left, maybe for one question. But maybe let us conclude in the standard, moderately optimistic tone. I mean, you have seen different dynamics in Belgrade. Marina said you were with us when we were cleaning the park and everything. And what about this reaction after that? One way it was directed to you, and it was quite unpleasant, especially on social networks. But what is it in Belgrade, in Serbia, that you think is interesting based on your stay here so far?
Дуже сподобалось, що Белград є культурним.
I really like that Belgrade is a cultural city. I like the exhibition galleries, and I like that it's really beautiful city, because I was actually know nothing about Belgrade, so it was really interesting for me to see the new culture. And actually it's interesting multicultural experience because there's a lot of people of other cultures that live in here, and Ukrainians too, and all of them are feeling free and feeling on their place, and they have everything to grow. I'm in Belgrade for 3 weeks. The first week I was actually sleeping because of the stress, but after all, I really liked that it's warm in here, that it's already so warm. I was talking to the flowers actually, because that's something really amazing, because I haven't remembered the last year warms. That's because of the war, and Ukrainians were actually left aside. And I feel great. I walk by the street, I get to know the city, and I imagine that some years ago there were walking Marina Abramovic, Mesha Selimovic, and other people that I was reading about, and I really like it here, and I'm going to came again.
It's very nice to hear this both in Ukrainian and Serbian. So now we will hear your questions. Are there any questions from the audience? Something that you would like to know? If not, I think that... Do you have a question, Vladimir? No, I just wanted to thank our guests and to tell them that really sincerely, and we really like you staying here. So there is an important content that you are bringing into Serbia. We would not have that without you and without the creative people from Ukraine who are here. So really thank you for being with us, and I think that you're actively contributing to better understanding of Ukrainian situation in Serbia. That's all. Thank you for spending these 45 minutes with us. I sincerely hope that next year at this time we will be speaking about this as things from the past. Thank you.